Thank you for my reminder, Nancy. Today has been one of those days. But so once again, just take care of yourself. Remind yourself to make sure that you be careful and think twice before you do some things. And so here we go. So just wanted, everyone knows where these links are, but I always like to put them there so that you can find them as you go forward, find our resources and our documents as you need them. And if you ever, I'm getting ready to send out another newsletter, and here is the link if you have not connected at this point in time to the newsletter. To receive those, I highly recommend that you connect and that you subscribe, one to GT. And then if you are also pretty much your advanced academics, I would suggest that you subscribe to their newsletter also. And then I also recommend that you subscribe to the TEA, to the administrator address, so that you can get more general information, and then whatever other populations that you work with. As all of us know, at times we do have those opportunities to expand our learning, and I'm gonna put it that way, of those extra jobs as duties as assigned, and we all get those at points. So if you hear from me on behalf of human trafficking or foster care, you know why. So as we branch out and move forward. So one other, as you know, we are trying to meet your needs. And so we have the FAQ that is still posted on the website on the left, and then on the right, you will have your our new guidance document that came out, I want to say the week before. So that is our gifted and talented education guidance. It still follows the layout of the state plan. It gives you a little bit more info on some things to think about, to probably consider as you either your plans for the spring or your plans for next year. Sorry it came out so late, but you know, sometimes you have to work with the things that you have, but it is there as we move forward. Think about where you are as a district. What are your goals? And if you have questions, feel free to put those in the chat, or if you need a few time to talk with me, I am always available. And actually I have set up office hours for people, so feel free to reach out if you have further questions on your programs, because sometimes they are so specific that we really just, email is hard, but it's nice to have a conversation about it. So our next GT Tuesday is going to be a morning edition, and that will be November the 10th of 2020. That will be after Target, after Gifted Ed 2020. And so today is our afternoon, and then our next one on the 11th, on the 10th, excuse me, I will put out the next schedule. These meeting codes will stay the same for morning or afternoon. I will just give you the new dates. So these sessions will stay the same. The dates will just update. And so, and probably going to, I'm trying to think of December, maybe a just general office hours, question time, and there's no specific agenda for that one. So it might be just ask Monica, or I bring another guest on and ask them. Letting people in. So just wanted to remind you, as we're about to end out this month, our next submission is due, and that is your district level identification. So I'll put those up in a minute. So at this point in time, our next process is to identify your district codes. And here are our codes. And the only the code that I did not publish is the 00 that you have no services, but the 01 through 5 are available. You can do multiple coding for your programs and highly recommend that. But please identify your program services as you go forth. Make sure that your Teams coordinator knows which one to mark for the district as we go forth. And let me check. The chat, make sure I'm up to date. I think someone's putting them in the links in there for you. Someone put my info, yes, in the chat. And then I'll post it before we are done with the day. So a couple of things as we look for and we go forth on our FAQ, we had a couple of questions on professional learning and just wanted to address a few of those. So as you look at how you provide that, a lot of you are doing online training sessions and or doing a hybrid of online training, and your ESCs are doing a hybrid of that. That is okay. I would say also make sure that you are looking to see who is the vendor, the provider, and what, who is the intended audience as you look at your professional development. And we are not waiving PD. So as you know, we did not waive that. So there's still an expectation as you go forth with your school districts. School board training, I wanted to make sure, remind you of that. That is available. And then if you need some language or some documentation of where is that other than the state plan, I put the link on the web, on this page so that you can pull it from our TA's Texas Governance Board, where you can pull, where they have the information on how that should be provided out to your districts, so, and to your superintendents. And so when you think about your training requirements and who's qualified to provide that training, and then who, think about, and that's pretty much left to you as a local district, but think about, you really want them, if they're providing your 30-hour training, to have that 30-hour training also. And then making sure that they know the guidelines and the rules prior to this. And making sure they understand what we're looking for. And as you look at your other program services and you're looking at those other courses that are out there and saying, let's use this, think about, and once again, as I stated earlier, who's the intended audience? How will it better a gifted child's education? Because sometimes when you think it may be good for all students, but they have a 30-minute blurb about GT, that does not qualify. I'm just going to really, put it out there. You really got to think that 30-minute blurb may or may not be hit the audience that you're looking for, the goals that you're looking for. So be real intentional of what you're accepting. You may have to start asking for those things that are outside for these updates. Get an agenda, get the PowerPoint slide presentation, get something to say, so that you can review to make an honest decision on will it qualify or not. And, sometimes it's hard to be that person to back it up, but we have to think about what is best for our students. And sometimes we are not the one to be the make everyone happy, but we got to make sure that our programs are being accountable. All right. And then our next piece is our 6-hour update. So here's some things that you should think about as I was mentioning with that criteria. Was it designed specifically to prepare teachers to meet the needs of our gifted students? Does it provide them with content above and beyond what they would get in their undergraduate programs? Was it designed to meet identified needs of either your district or your GT students within your district? And then will it increase the understanding of their needs? Was it provided by an expert in gifted ed? And then an expert, which is more than a practitioner level or the practitioner level in the content area. So you're really looking at who's this expert, how they're part of your program. So the next one is when you think about your learning calendar. And I really suggest that you think about what is your learning calendar. And it may be a little bit as I mentioned last time, we are really being a part of GRACE, but we still have to look at our parameters. So when you think about your professional learning calendar, it may be still what your district's professional learning calendar may be. I know when I was in the district, you had to have all your training done before, actually probably this month. So at this point, if you did not have it, at this point, you knew that you were not giving up your Thanksgiving 2 days, you were going to training those 2 days. So you have to think about, are you losing your money? So you got to think, when do we want to end our training? What does this qualify? And then when you really think about your GT students, if it's for your teachers, would a training in April really help them during the school year? Or would April be a reflection on the next school year? So you really got to think about your calendar when you're looking at when are they receiving their updates, what's their timeline for that update, and then also looking at what are your timelines for those new hires who are hired in January, who were hired in September, or who was hired, right now we might be getting someone who's hired in October to just really go in. How does that look? And where do they fall? And looking at those pieces in your district and what sounds feasible. Is it, and then what is your documentation for that? And how are you documenting that and putting that in your systems? Because I know for some, it's really, you're using your Eduphoria, your systems, your platform within your district. And then some is all Excel spreadsheet that someone maintains. But always remind your educators that they are the first sole source of keeping that documentation. I have my documentation back to the 1990s when I started taking my GT training. It's probably in a box somewhere, but I know I still got it. And then our family and community involvement. The question was, how do we communicate around our identification, selection, delivery, and delivery of our GT services? And at this point, really, it might be you sending out a note in your email system, or it's on your parent portal, or it's on your website. What are you doing? How you're doing it? What are you providing? I know right now we have to be really fluid. We don't know. Basically, right now with COVID and this pandemic, we don't know where we might be from week to week. 1 week your school might be open, next week it might be closed. The next 2 weeks it might be on remote. So you got to really think about what is your processing, how are you looking at that, and then going forward from there. Everyone is kind of getting tired of Zoom, so you might not want to have a Zoom meeting all the time. So you have those options, and so you got to really think, what are your options, how you're going to play it out. It might be you can do a little quick video recording and post that, or you have a PowerPoint that they can self-navigate through. So, or it's just a newsletter going out. So think about what is feasible for you and what are your plans, and then letting everyone know what is going forward. So that leads to I'd like to open it up to if someone wants to share on, we've had two real topics today on program on professional learning and then on also on family involvement and communications. So if anyone would like to share about that, and I will check in the chat um, the questions. All right. Okay, so I see one question. So we have not been able to adopt a digital test. What options do we have for face-to-face testing if we still have not been able to have student teachers return to a building? So at this point, you probably would not have a face-to-face testing unless you get special approval from your district, which I highly doubt they would do. So you really have to think, when is your next option for a window where you can plan for either face-to-face or just go to the point of what are your other options of materials or resources without that test at this point in time. So you really have to think about what other measures can you pull without a digital test or a portfolio or some way that you can advocate or look at students so you can get that other piece as you get into the next system. And you'll probably have to think about that a little bit more. And so some are still, because you remember if you had to push, and you could postpone to your spring administration. So when you think about your spring administration, thinking about when is that, but then you really need to, if you're going to push to your spring administration, you really need to, because where we are with COVID and with flu and with the weather going forward, we don't know where we may be. And if you remember from that slide where I was showing you the numbers, it was a slight decrease, but not that much. And it just turned cold. So how many kids are going to be at another level? So you really have to think and work out a plan with your administration, especially if you're not going to have you have face-to-face processes. How can you do that safely? And getting their buy-in on how to do that, and then getting their guidance and their approval on whatever process that you may do. So had a question about other options for assessments, and what do you recommend as measures? So there are many different measures out there, and what I will do for our November meeting is we will actually just kind of have an opportunity. I will do a little bit more research. What we've provided, and I'm going to ask Amber, because I know, or she's on the chat, but what I'll do is, let me stop. Okay. We are updating the list of assessments that we published on two different places. One is on the GT Equity website under the low SCS, where you have your options of assessment. That's a big master list there. So you can look at that too. And if someone will put that in the chat, that link, I think Amber probably can grab it for me faster than I can. And I want to say thank you, Amber, for posting today. And then the other place you can also find it is under our Texas program implementation resource, where you will see that list also in a different format. It's probably not as full as encompassing. But what we'll do in our November meeting is just list the different tests, different measures. If you have some that you have a question about, shoot me that question, or you have a wondering about, we will. Now, as you know, I do not get into testing. I do not get into your measures. I do not, that is really a local decision, but we will just I will just flash them up there for you so you can see what they are, what their purposes are, what their uses, what they are intended to do. And then if there's a digital version, I will let you know about those. So it will just be totally info. If you have a vendor that you want to know more about, let me know. I will see if they come, but I am not going to promote anyone. We do not get into that level. So it will be just basically as we go forward. So some of your thing is student interviews, portfolios, looking at performance measures. I know some people have moved to MAPS. If your district is using ITBS, Stanford, or is it Achieve now? Whatever your measures, some of the local norms, there are, I want to say interest inventories, different checklists. So there's your parent checklist. So those are some of the measures out there that you can think about. As I said, I will do, that will be our November 10th measures. And that's all we're going to talk about. And then if anyone would like to say how they're using it, feel free to shoot me a note. And then as we go forward. So I see Monica Simons put it in, they're working towards using to avoid going back to achievement tests because it serves as a gatekeeper versus that full spectrum of allowing students in. So yes, Amber, you can. All right, let me go back. Let me see if there are any other questions as I move forward that I might have missed. So what options do you have for your remote students when you have an established or centralized testing and they do not show? So if they do not show, it would be, and I would just want to put, you have to consider if they were absent that day and that was your day for testing, they have no school. And you are at this point moving with what you do have of the data pieces that you do have. You've given them their opportunity. It's just, sometimes I know it's hard, so. All right, go back down. All right. So Amber has put a sample of a program guide that we that has some resources there that you can also consider. All right, as we move forward. Just wanted to remind you of Project Restore. I won't go back through the entire thing. The next video should go up in next month. So the entire series will be up by the middle of November. So hopefully you are, that is a great access resource for you to use with your districts and your campuses. Just wanted to highlight Gifted Ed 20 is coming up December 3rd through Saturday, December 5th. And I probably want to say that Paulina is on with me. And if she would like to make any announcements or any
Hi, everybody.
Yay.
Thanks, Monica. I don't know if my headphones are working, but we would love to see you all December 3rd through 5th, or anytime between that and January 31st for over 100 hours of professional learning geared towards you and your teams. We have some really strong strands around virtual and hybrid learning, social emotional needs of gifted students and your teams, as well as a lot of social justice sessions focused on race and equity in GT programs and student voice around social justice issues. So really timely information, and hopefully not only is it million thousand hours of content, but also bucket filling opportunities for you all to connect with each other in roundtable discussions and fun social events. So I hope that you've all planned to be there, and have planned for your chance to be there. If you have any questions or still want to register a group, just reach out to us at membership@txgifted.org. And if you have any questions too, I'm looking at the chat.
So if you have any questions for Paulina about conference, throw it in the chat. But it's always a great opportunity to learn and to build your expertise. So another opportunity, as you know, our National Association for Gifted and Talented is having their annual conference. It is November the 11th through the 15th. So it's coming up soon. And so there's the link there for that conference if you need to a little bit learn a bit more, a little bit differently. So that's another option. Okay. I don't know how many of you are a part or have seen the Texas Computer Education Association. I always loved to go to their conferences when I was in the district, but they have free membership open till this Friday. So if you have not joined, I always like to plug in something free. Please join. Think about joining. Even if they have lunch and learns, they also have a few other things, and then real inexpensive certificates. If you really learn it, you need to learn more about Schoology, or if you need to learn about Google Classrooms, they have those certifications that you can also get. But it's like free training. Always take the opportunity. So I'm going to throw it back out there to questions, wonderings. If not, I'm gonna give you back some time today. So I highly recommend that you check the chat because there have been some good communication on what you're doing in your districts. And I want to thank you for those who are sharing in the chat. Right. So while we have a moment in the process, so I know that we will look at November as we're looking at measures. We're just looking at what are the measures out there so that you can also have another venue to hear about them. Then the other is, would you like just the open, opportunity to ask questions in December? So if you put a yes by your name or a raised hand, I will think like that, so I can think about that. Or would you like a specific topic? So if you like specific topics for the upcoming, if you got a topic that you are interested in, let me know. Yes, the questions. Thank you. All right. Definitely, we can have a good questions. And if you have any that you want to send in advance, I will be happy to put those on the slide and we can have those conversation pieces as we walk through this. I want to say thank you this is probably number 18 of our GT Tuesdays right now, the opportunity to talk to you, to share and to kind of get your wonderings. And then I would like to have at least one where it's really open up to just to highlight what you're doing in your district. So if you want to volunteer to talk about what your district is doing, let me know. There is no right or wrong. It is just really an opportunity just to share. Everyone learns from these meetings and have an opportunity to know what it looks like in another district compared to theirs. Same size, smaller size, but it is just, we're here to grow and we're here to learn. So. I know it was, this, PD and family community is now a large, big issue at the moment. And so, but I hope everyone is well. If anyone would like to talk about, I would like to give you opportunity to share your program or what you're doing. Feel free to unmic. If not, it is 1:39 by my clock. I will let you have 20 more minutes back of your time. I will go have lunch. All right. I see people want time. Yes, I understand. The beginning slides. I can definitely go back to the beginning. So is this the slide I hope you were looking for? Because the others were only the objectives and the wellness check. It's my goal. And also, I always go back to the COVID website, and let me put this up. If you go to the main page of this COVID website, you will find what is the most recent publications. And right now we are one of the most sought after, so we're there. But there's also the superintendent's call. So I won't say each week, but the superintendent the commissioner has a superintendent's call on Thursdays. So go and look at that listing. You will find different pieces there. So that's where I found this link, and then I'm like, we really need to be cognizant of the cases that are going on compared to our state. So as you look at that page, that is another opportunity to see the reporting. It is updated pretty much at the end of the week. Those are those links. And then there is our Gov delivery. And then our resource documents that have been published out is guidance for you. As we move forward, take time just to read and study. Always look at something that's going on. Otherwise, as I said, I'm branching out, and so I know everyone has multiple hats that you wear, and I want to say thank you for taking the time to join me. And I'm going to end it at that. I hope that you have a blessed day. Let me give you, for those who do not have it, my contact info is here. Sorry. And our next meeting, once again, is on November the 10th, 2020, and we will talk about measures for identification. So I'll give it a minute. So thank you, and have a great day. Happy Halloween, everybody. Or Hallows Eve, however you celebrate or don't. So have a good day.